The first thing I noticed when the doors of the crystalline hall opened was the glow. It wasn't artificial lighting. It was the walls themselves, humming with faint blue energy, like bioluminescent organisms woven into stone. I stepped into the grand chamber, still feeling out of place despite the diplomatic badge clipped awkwardly to my shirt. I was the only human in attendance, the only human invited. And now, judging by the sudden silence that swept across the hall, the only human hundreds of alien eyes were staring at. My name is Elias Rourke, communications officer aboard the United Terran Embassy vessel, Horizon's Judge. And I had no idea that my life was about to change in a way no other human life ever had. The hall was filled with towering, elegant figures. The Serathai, an ancient noble species known for their telepathic resonance and luminous skin that shifted in tone with their emotions. Their architectural style matched their biology. Everything sleek, glowing, and impossibly graceful. At the front of the hall, elevated on a shimmering dais of floating light, stood the reason I was here. Princess Lyratul, first daughter of the Serathai crown. She was taller than any human, almost 3 meters, but shaped like a being sculpted from moonlight. Her skin glowed in warm gold tones, and her eyes held layered galaxies within them, swirling subtly like living nebulas. Her hair wasn't hair, it was flowing energy, cascading like silver mist. Even among her own people, she was mesmerizing. But what I didn't know, what no human had known until that moment, was that today was not just a diplomatic summit. It was a choosing ceremony. And the princess had reached the stage in Serathai tradition when she needed to pick a bonded mate, someone who would stand beside her, rule beside her, and perform duties that were as political as they were emotional. It was a sacred ritual. I had no idea I had been invited to one. As I stood in the receiving line, my translator device buzzing nervously at my belt, I watched Serathai nobles approach the princess one by one. Each gave a formal nod. Each awaited her acknowledgement. The air thrummed with tension. Something was happening, something I didn't understand. The nobles glanced at each other, reading social signals I wasn't trained to read. Their colors shifted subtly. Then the whispers began. She hasn't chosen. She must choose today. Why does she hesitate? When the princess lifted her gaze, the hall rearranged itself around her presence. A wave of golden light rolled across her skin as she looked over the gathering. Searching me. I just stood still, hoping I wasn't breaking some rule by breathing too loudly. Then her eyes stopped moving. They landed on me. Everything froze. Her light brightened sharply, a shimmering flare that cast shadows across the chamber. The nobles gasped, their colors snapping into shades of surprise. "No," one of them whispered. "Impossible," murmured another. "A human." Lyratul lifted her hand, graceful, glowing, and pointed directly at me. Her voice, when it rang through the hall, was melodic, layered, and undeniable. "I choose him." Part 1, The Unchosen Choice. If the hall had been quiet before, now it felt dead. You could have heard a feather hit the crystalline floor. My heart hammered against my ribs like it was trying to escape. I blurted the first thing that hit my panicked mind. "Me." A very dignified thing to say in front of an alien royal, obviously. The princess's luminescent expression softened into something warm, almost amused. Her glow pulsed with a gentle golden hue. "Yes," she said. "You." A wave rippled through the crowd, the Serathai equivalent of gasps and murmurs. I swallowed hard, trying to cling to any fragment of sanity. "But I'm human." "Yes." She seemed to see no issue with that. Her people, however, clearly did. A tall Serathai elder stepped forward, the blue of uncertainty rippling across his skin. Your radiance, he said carefully. The choosing must honor your lineage. A foreigner, especially one from an unbonded world, cannot support the throne. Lyratal tilted her head slightly. He can. Princess, the elder continued. Humans lack resonance. They lack the mind harmony essential for royal bonding. It is tradition. Tradition evolves, she said. He hesitated. It was obvious he wanted to argue but wouldn't dare challenge her openly. Meanwhile, I desperately wished my translator had some kind of panic mode. They were using words like bonding and mate and support the throne, and I hadn't even been briefed on the snacks they serve at these events. This was way beyond diplomatic small talk. Lyratal stepped off the dais, her feet not fully touching the ground, and approached me with an ethereal, floating elegance. She stopped just an arm's length away, towering over me. Up close, her glow was even brighter, warm, hypnotic. You are Elias Rourke, she said. Human communicator. Explorer of distant space. Yes, I managed. That's me. Mostly. She studied me quietly, her eyes swirling with stardust. You have heart resonance, she said. I have what? It is rare among your kind. She lifted her glowing hand slightly, and a faint warmth brushed against my mind. But you possess it. A gentle wave passed over me, a feeling like standing near a warm sunbeam. Not invasive, not overwhelming. More like curiosity brushing against my thoughts. The connection broke after a moment, leaving me dazed. What was that? Yes. Proof, she said softly, that you can stand beside me. Before I could respond, before I could process anything, the hall erupted into layered voices. Unthinkable. A human cannot bond with royalty. What does this mean for the line? Why him? There must be a test. Human bodies are fragile. He could not handle the resonance trials. The princess ignored them all. She turned to the assembly, her glow shifting into regal gold. I have made my decision. Part 2. The trials I never wanted to take. Apparently, choosing didn't mean instant marriage. The Serathai had bonding trials, which, according to their quick summary, were designed to ensure compatibility between mates. Trial of mind. Trial of spirit. Trial of unity. Each trial sounded equally intimidating and equally vague. The elders insisted a human could never pass them. The princess insisted I would. And I was just trying not to pass out. The princess led me away from the hall, down corridors that glowed like living rivers of energy. She moved smoothly, silently, and each time she glanced back at me, her expression softened just a fraction. You are afraid, she finally said. I think that's normal, I replied. Being suddenly chosen as a mate by an alien royal family wasn't exactly in the briefing packet. You are overwhelmed, she corrected gently. Laughed shaky. Yeah, that too. She slowed her pace until she walked beside me. It felt intentional, like she wanted me to feel equal, not beneath her. Why me? Yes. She considered that for several seconds. In my people, resonance is a sense beyond the physical. We perceive connection as emotion, instinct, intuition. When I looked across the hall, I felt something unmistakable. Harmony. A stillness. A pause. You call it a spark. A spark. I repeated. Like romantic spark. She tilted her head. Is that your word? I laughed weakly. Yes. Then yes. The warmth in my chest caught me off guard. But what if I fail the trials? Yes.